Brighton is a dissolved municipality and current neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts, United States, and is located in the northwestern corner of the city. It is named after the town of Brighton in the English city of Brighton and Hove. For its first 160 years, Brighton was part of Cambridge, and was known as Little Cambridge. Throughout much of its early history, it was a rural town with a significant commercial centre at its eastern end. Brighton separated from Cambridge in 1807 after a bridge dispute, and was annexed to Boston in 1874. The neighborhood of Allston was also formerly part of the town of Brighton, but is now often considered separately, leading to the moniker Allston-Brighton for the combined area. History. In 1630, land comprising present-day Allston, Brighton and Newton was assigned to Watertown. In 1634, the Massachusetts Bay Colony transferred ownership of the south side of the Charles River, including present-day Allston, Brighton and Newton, from Watertown to Newtown, later renamed Cambridge. In 1646, Reverend John Eliot established a praying Indian village on the present Newton-Brighton boundary, where resided local natives converted to Christianity. The first permanent English settlement came as settlers crossed the Charles River from Cambridge, establishing Little Cambridge, the area's name before 1807. Before the American Revolutionary War, Little Cambridge became a small, prosperous farming community with fewer than 300 residents. Its inhabitants included wealthy Boston merchants such as Benjamin Faneuil. A key event in the history of Allston-Brighton was the establishment in 1775 of a cattle market to supply the Continental Army. Jonathan Winship and Jonathan Winship II established the market, and in the post-war period that followed, the Winships became the largest meat packers in Massachusetts. The residents of Little Cambridge resolved to secede from Cambridge when the latter's government made decisions detrimental to the cattle industry, and also failed to repair the Great Bridge linking Little Cambridge with Cambridge proper. Legislative approval for separation was obtained in 1807, and Little Cambridge renamed itself Brighton. In 1820, the horticulture industry was introduced to the town. Over the next 20 years, Brighton blossomed as one of the most important gardening neighborhoods in the Boston area. The businessmen, however, did not neglect the cattle industry. In 1834, the Boston and Worcester Railroad was built, solidifying the community's hold on the cattle trade. By 1866, the town contained 41 slaughterhouses, which later were consolidated into the Brighton Stockyards and Brighton Abattoir. In October 1873, the town of Brighton, in Middlesex County, voted to annex itself to the city of Boston in Suffolk County, and in January 1874 Brighton officially became a neighborhood of the city of Boston. Allston-Brighton's population grew tremendously in the next half-century, rising from 6,000 in 1875 to 47,000 by 1925. Transportation. Brighton is accessible via the B branch of the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority's Green Line light rail service, which has 11 stops along Commonwealth Avenue in Brighton. Cleveland Circle on the C branch is located in the southern tip of Brighton, and the D branch is nearby. Brighton is also served by several local and inner express MBTA bus routes. 57 Watertown Yard, Kenmore Station via Newton Corner and Brighton Center. 64 Oak Square, University Park, Cambridge, Kendall, via North Beacon Street. 65 Brighton Center, Kenmore Station via Washington Street, Brookline Village and Brookline Avenue. 66 Harvard Square, Dudley Station via Alston and Amp, Brookline Village, 70 and 70A Cedarwood, North Waltham Watertown Square, University Park via Central Square, Cambridge, Arsenal Street and Amp, Western Avenue, 86 Sullivan Square, Station, Reservoir via Harvard, Johnston Gate, 501 Brighton Centre, Downtown via Oak Square and Amp, Mass. Turnpike, 503 Brighton Centre, Copley Square via Oak Square and Amp, Mass. Turnpike. 47% of the population of Brighton drive alone to work and 36% use mass transit, compared with 71% and 2% for the United States as a whole. On June 7, 2012, MassDOT announced a plan to build a commuter rail station at Everett Street in Brighton. The new station, Boston Landing, will be served by the Framingham-Worcester Line. Geography. Brighton is a neighborhood of Boston that is connected to the rest of the city by the Alston neighborhood. It is otherwise surrounded by Cambridge, Watertown, Newton, and Brookline. The Charles River separates Brighton from Cambridge and Watertown. According to the Census Bureau, Brighton, defined by zip code 02135, has a population of 43,887 and a land area of 2.78 square miles. Brighton is administered jointly with the adjacent neighborhood of Alston. The two are referred to together as Alston-Brighton, and have a combined population of 65,276 and a land area of 4.12 square miles. Brighton is generally to the west of Everett, Gordon and Kelton Streets. The current city councillor of Alston-Brighton is Mark Ciamo, who has held this position since 2007. Demographics. As of 2007, the estimated population of Brighton is 42,789, a 2.81% loss from the 2000 census. The population density is 14,797 per square miles, slightly higher than the citywide average of 12,166 per square miles. The median age is 32.2. The largest measured age cohort is 25 to 34, which comprises 32.52% of the population. 59% of the population have never been married. The population was 78% white, 12% Asian American, 3.5% Black or African American, and nearly 7% Hispanic of any race. 33% of Brighton has graduated from a 4-year college. The median home price is $495,000 compared with $217,200 for the country as a whole, and the cost of living is 30% higher than the national average. Brighton has a comparatively older housing stock. The median home age was 58 years and 42% of homes were built before 1939. The largest religious group is Catholic, with Protestants and other Christians making up the second largest, at 10% of the population. The next largest religious identification is Judaism, with Islam at 2%. Education. Brighton is home to many Boston public schools: Elementary Edson School, Winship School, Baldwin Pilot School, Mary Leon, Secondary Brighton High School, another Courser College, Mary Leon Pilot High School, St. Joseph Preparatory High School. Brighton was home to many Catholic schools, many of which have closed. Our Lady of the Presentation in Oak Square, St. Gabriel's behind St. Elizabeth Medical Center, St. Sebastian's School in the Oak Square Heights, remaining a St. Columcille's School off of Market Street, and St. Joseph's Preparatory Academy, a co-educational high school located on Cambridge Street, the F International Language School, an English and college preparatory school for international students, is located on Lake Street. Brighton is home to the Everest Institute, St. John's Seminary, and portions of Boston College. The area is also close to other colleges, including Boston University, and houses many of their students and faculty. Notable people: Michael Bloomberg, Mayor of New York City, born in Brighton. Mike Brady, winner of 9 PGA events between 1916 and 1926. Fred Cusick, Boston Bruins play-by-play announcer for 45 years. Steve Diossi, former professional football player for the NFL's New York Giants and New England Patriots. William F. Galvin, Massachusetts Secretary of State. Joe Kennedy, son of the late Robert Kennedy. Patrick J. Kennedy, a former U.S. Congressman for Rhode Island's 1st District. John Krasinski, film actor, director, writer. Dennis Lehane, author of Mystic River and many other Boston-set novels. Mr. Liff, political rapper. Theodore B. Lyman, 4th Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of North Carolina. Mike Milbury, a former coach and player of the NHL's Boston Bruins. Brigadier General Edmund Rice, recipient of the Medal of Honor. Fred Salvucci, a former Massachusetts Secretary of Transportation. Simon Schnapier, American Olympic medalist pair skater. Charles Richard Stith, a former U.S. ambassador to Tanzania. David Foster Wallace, novelist.